Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Inspired Books Group coaching call. Today is October 1st. Oh, we're in the last quarter of the year already. Time has flown by. So before I dive in, does anybody have any questions? Any wins, anything you want to share, where you're at with your book? Anybody? Nothing? Okay. Well, if you want to share later, just let me know. All right, so today I want to talk about something that I have talked about before. I don't remember how long ago it was. It might have been a year ago, but I don't know. I tried looking for the replay. I couldn't find it. But I think this is really super important. Besides just how to write a book, how to publish a book, this piece is super important to the future of your book. And this is about what happens to your book when you're no longer on this earth. And so I want to talk to you today about your last will and testament and how that all applies to your book. So some of you may already have a will in place. You may have, a POA in place. You might have an executor in place, all that. But do you have your book or books designated? It's not something that we would normally think about. And like I said, I know I've taught on this about a year ago or whenever it was, but as my husband and I are going through things, like this is kind of on the forefront. And some of you may not have heard me teach on this. And if you haven't considered this at all, I wanted to make sure that it was addressed again. So it's important that we all have a will in place. Whether you're an author or not, whether you don't own a business, whatever, because when you are gone, then if there's no will in place, it leaves a mess for your loved ones. It goes into probate and it's a mess. And it's also important to have, while you are living, a power of attorney. There's a financial power of attorney and there's medical power of attorney. And it's, advised to have both. I'm not an attorney, so anything I say today, don't take it as law because I'm only repeating things that I have learned throughout the years. But a POA is only valid while you are living. So if you do not name an executor to your estate, it's still going to end up in probate. So you need a POA for while you're living, in case anything happens to you, you get incapacitated, maybe you get dementia or something and you aren't capable of making some of these decisions, then your POA can step in and make these decisions for you. If you want them to make medical decisions for you, you have to have that medical POA. If you want them to make financial decisions, you have to have that financial POA. So you need to specify those. The executor comes into play after you pass away. Then they're the ones that handle everything. And we just went through this with my father-in-law, and I know Beth just went through this, doing it for her sister. So it's fresh on our minds. But there's a lot of work involved even with that. Like as the executor, even if you have everything spelled out, there's still a lot of work involved. The executor has to do a lot of work. So you want to name somebody that you can trust that's going to do a good job, all of that. The thing that's really important when it comes to your books is there's a lot of different things to consider. First of all, you want to make sure that they have access to all of your accounts. So if you're running a business, any of that, you need to have what the account name is, the login credentials, and a lot of these things nowadays have a security feature. So even when you log in, especially like with Amazon, when you try to go into not the KDP dashboard, but when you try to go into your account where you have your banking information, they send you a security number because now it's your finances. On the dashboard, it's just your book, but now it's your finances. So anything that deals with finances, these sites usually have a security feature in place where they send you a security code. And so if that security code only comes text message, your POA or executor is going to need to have access to your phone. If it comes by email, they're going to need access to your email. So you need to give them that information. And if you have a code to get into your phone, you're going to want to make sure they know the code to get into your phone. Or they're not going to be able to go in and access these accounts to close them out or to do whatever, it is that you want them to do with them. So, you got to start way back from the beginning. Okay, here's the phone. They need to get into your phone. They need to know how to get into your email. Any passwords that you have, any security features that you've put in place, they need to know. And then they need to know about the security features that are in place for each one of these accounts. So they don't just need to know your login information. They also need to know if there's a security feature and where that's going to pop up for them. Okay, so then you need to decide, what do I want to have happen with my book? Do I want them to just go in and unpublish it and just, close everything out, call it quits so nobody has to deal with anything? Do you want them to keep it going? And then if so, where do the funds go if anybody buys your book? Who gets that? Is there a designated person that you want to get that? Is there a charity that you want to get that? And who's going to manage this account? Because your executor may not want to manage it forever. You may have to, maybe you want to hire an attorney. This is a conversation that you need to have between your executor and you, or whoever you think you'd want to have handle that for you. And then what happens when they're gone? What's the ongoing process of all of this? There's another thing that you can do, and that's called a trust. When you put things in a trust, it can help avoid probate. Like we could put our home in a trust right now. And that way it avoids probate because it's in a trust. And I cannot tell you all of the ins and outs of a trust. All I know is that a trust can help against probate. And you can put things in a trust right from the get-go. There's an irrevocable trust and there's a revocable trust. And so I suggest you meet with an attorney to learn all of that. If you have not been involved in any of that, if you have never gone through it or considered it, those are things that you want to think about. So you need to let them know all the books that you have, what their titles are and what you want done with each one of them. Maybe there's some that are older and maybe the information in there isn't relevant anymore. Maybe you wrote some sort of a marketing book and it's just really isn't relevant today anymore. You could tell them, just close that out. If you are, so you might want to close some books out, unpublish it, but keep some going. Yeah, it's just, it's all going to be up to you what you want to do with that, but you want to educate these people, even your POA. Hi, Annette. We're talking about having plans in place for your book once you are no longer on this earth.
Oh.
Yeah. What happens? So, again, like I said, a POA is super important to have while you're living. So that someone can make decisions for you. A lot of people have POA, like the military, a lot of times have POA because they're not home. So they'll name their spouse or a family member or somebody to handle their affairs for them while they're serving. So a POA isn't just for if you're incapacitated. It could be because you're serving, or, some other thing where you want a POA in place. And it's a good idea, when you ask somebody, give it give it some prayerful thought as to who you would want to have as your POA and who you would want to have as your executor. They can be the same person, but you know, it's not just as simple as, hey, would you be my power of attorney for me? Okay, sure. Well, do they know what it's involved? Do they know that you have 20 books and 5 businesses, or whatever? So you want to make sure that they know what they're getting themselves into before they say yes. Because for some people, they might feel like it's way too overwhelming for them, And so, choose your POA and your executor carefully, because there's, like I said, it's not just your KDP account or your Ingram Sparks account. What else do you have? Do you have a Zoom account, social media accounts? There's a lot of different things at play that sometimes we forget about. It's just easy to forget about them. We think about, oh, here's all the bills I have or whatever, but it's easy to forget about, oh yeah, I pay Zoom. So you want to make sure that they'll cancel your Zoom account so that, they're not trying to pull your monthly fee. If you're, paying for coaching, if you have a coach where you're paying monthly, make sure that, they know they need to go out and cancel this account. So there's all those things that come into play. And so, you got to think about all those things. And as it applies to you as an author, what platforms are you using to support you as an author? From social media to just behind the scenes accounts, Canva, are you paying for a Canva account? All that kind of thing. So, make a detailed list of your books and what you want to happen with each one of those books. And then, let's see, check my notes here. And it's not a bad idea to, I think being very specific it's better to be over specific than under specific. Very, make it very detailed. Like when my sister passed away, she had a will and everything, but who got what in some of her things was handwritten, and we're sitting there like, what does that say? Dad's what? Dad what? Type it out so that nobody's trying to struggle and read your writing. Make it very detailed. Even like a letter of instruction, just be as detailed about it as you can, because you got to remember, these people, this is taking time out of their life, and depending on how much stuff you have going on, it can be very, very time consuming. Right, Beth? And it might involve some travel. It's a lot. So, let's see. And the other thing too is, even if you've done this, even if you've added your book to your will already, if you've written another book, now you should go and update your will. So always update it. If there's any changes, if you've added a new account, now you've opened up a whatever account, go and add that to your instructions and all your login information. If you've canceled one, go out and update that so that they're not like, well, I can't find this account, so it's a good idea to always be updating it as things change. If you write another book, go out and add that to the list. If you've canceled account, do all, whatever. If you've changed your bank account, all of this stuff, make sure you're keeping it current so that your POA and your executor don't have to be hunting. Make it as easy for them as possible. Let's see.
Kathy.
Yeah.
Another thing, once you've got all this stuff done, put it all in one place and let your executor know where it is.
Yep.
My sister told 3 different people, 3 different places for the deed to her house.
Oh.
And it wasn't in any of the 3.
Oh no.
I finally found it in the original envelope, upside down on a glass decorative plate, sitting in the lid to a paper box in between a bookcase and her craft table.
Oh my goodness.
After looking for 3 weeks. And I texted my brother and I said, Eureka, I have found it. I am done working for the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, put it all
Yeah.
in one place. My daughter said, after going through all this with my sister, she said, Mom, your stuff is all going in a safety deposit box at the bank. And I just said, fine,
Mhm.
when it's ready, we'll do that.
Yep. But then make sure they know where the key is to the safety deposit.
Right.
And if there's a code, password that you got to give, all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know with my father-in-law, we couldn't find his will. And there was two different attorneys, and I still have no idea what went on with that. But the one attorney retired, and he had sent a letter that he was retiring. And we had a will from them, I think, but we thought there was a will from this other attorney. Well, this other attorney didn't have any will, and we couldn't find it anywhere. And so I don't even know what they were going off of. I think they found something. And then as I was going through, I went through his file cabinet. Okay, these are all just old medical statements. And so that went into recycle stack. We had 5 foot high stack of recycled paper because he saved everything. And then was looking for something. There was I can't remember what it was exactly. And so I went digging through all those papers, and like I said, there was literally 5 feet high of papers. And I found, because they always come like in this brown envelope or a manila type colored envelope. And I saw in this bag, I'm like, those were medical bills. I'm like, what's that brown envelope in there? Pull it out and it's his will. He filed it in the wrong file. It went into the medical bill file rather than here's my will file. So, yeah, great point. Put it in a logical place, a safe place, and then tell everybody where it's at. And if it, like I said, if it's a lockbox, make sure they have a key to it. Where's your key? Tell them where the key is. If there's, you've instructed the bank to have to give some secret code, whatever, then tell them what the code is, So all of those things are super important. Detailed record keeping, detailed just of everything, passwords, logins, security features, how to access your phone, all that kind of stuff. Besides all the other things that you would normally think about when you're planning a will, give all this account information, and make it very detailed. And then I would say it's not a bad idea to have a safe deposit box, or, keep it on hand with an attorney. I don't know if, some probably do that, some don't. And interestingly enough, make sure you have the original. My father-in-law, we did not have the original. That will that I found, I'm looking at this and I said, this isn't an original. It was stapled like an original. The original has special binding on it, or a photocopy doesn't. And it had all the special binding on it and everything. And I'm like, said to my husband, this is not an original. You could tell it wasn't original. I mean, the signature was, you could tell it was a photocopy. So, and I found it the morning that he and my husband and his brother had to go to the attorney. Found it that morning. And so he takes it with him and he tells the attorney, he shows it to his brother and he's like, yeah, he goes, I don't know where the original is. They give it to the attorney and they tell him it's not the original. And he goes, yeah, this is an original. And they're like, no, it's not. Yeah, this is an original. And they're like, okay. Because if it's not an original, it's not valid. I don't know. And the attorney was probably just saying, no, we're going to say this is an original. He probably knew very well it wasn't, but he was not going to say that. He wasn't going to go down that road. So make sure you have the original will and all your instructions, just in case, to avoid every problem that might occur. Gee, am I forgetting anything? I don't know, questions on that? Questions, comments on any of that?
I just want to say that that is a good subject here because I'm making notes as you're talking about all the different accounts that that you even have that your family, like for instance, Groove, you have a lifetime membership to Groove, you
Yeah.
know, and to have that just so that they know because they may be able to use what we have,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good to just put all of these businesses, these software, whatever that we've purchased, that we have so that they'll know everything that's available.
Yeah.
I'm going like, so I remember what's available. I'm going like, oh yeah, I did
Yeah.
buy that.
Yeah. No, and it's a good idea to just start making a list and just, kind of keep adding to it. Just have a running, maybe just have it up on your computer or something. And as you think of something else, just go add it to the list. And then once you think you have everything, then put it in the nice document form or whatever. But, yeah, and the thing also like with a trust, I'm not sure, but I think with a trust, like if you wanted your book or books to continue for years after you're gone and after your executor's gone, to continue to be out there, I think a trust can keep on going. And I think for something like that though, you may have to have like a law firm involved, and then they would manage it, because obviously your relatives are going to pass on too and so forth. That's where you would want to talk to an attorney, like what would be the best option. Like we met with an estate planner here a while back, because we'd heard about a trust and stuff like that, and she gave us some information on it. And honestly, I don't even remember what she said now. I just remember there's so much involved, and I don't know, it was like she didn't even want to do business with us. So like we didn't have enough. Like she was really almost discouraged. You can print off a POA form for free on this site, and you can do the, and we're like, okay, so you don't want our business or what? You know?
I know a guy, and I'll
Yeah.
find out if he can work with people outside of Texas because he is amazing.
Okay. All right, great. Yeah.
I would have not thought of any of this stuff regarding the books and that kind of thing, though. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, like I said, I know I taught on this about a year ago, but some of you have weren't here with me that long, so I wanted to talk about it because this is super important. Yeah, getting your book written and published is all great. And you'd be surprised how many people don't think past that, because it's just, I don't know, there's something about a book, you don't have it right in front of you all the time, and it's not, not like a business where you physically go to it or something. And it's just something different about it, where I think a lot of people don't think about what's going to happen to their book when they're gone. And if there's sales that come in, you don't do anything about it and you don't contact Amazon, they're going to try to deposit the money in your account. And if your executors closed out your account, then there's, well, Amazon will probably just keep it, and maybe they'll get some notification from the bank or something. But why should Amazon get your money? So it's just, there's going to be those complications, and having that detailed list of all of your accounts, your logins, your securities, your all of that, is gonna make life so much easier for your executor. But it's also your wishes. What do you want to happen with your books? Do you want them to continue to be published? Do you want people to continue to buy them? Or do you want to just make life super easy for everybody and have your executor go and unpublish them and close your account? I mean, that's going to be totally up to you, what you want to have happen with them. But like I said, as far as like planning for, okay, so what happens when your executor's gone, and, and how long is your executor going to have to handle your account? Or, you might want to talk to a estate planning attorney for things like that. Even, maybe a literary attorney or something, I don't know if they get into that side of it, or just the estate planning attorney would have that. Some of them may not have come across, an author and what to do with books. So then you might need to have a literary attorney. I don't know. I haven't done that myself yet, so I'm I'm guilty too. I've got the information, I just haven't done it yet. So we're struggling with who do we name as executor and POA and all that, because we don't have any kids. And he's only got one brother, and he's nowhere close, and none of my family's close by, so they'd all have to travel. And like for him, because he lived out of state from his dad, the state of Iowa doesn't allow out of state executors. So he was listed as executor, but he couldn't be the executor. His brother had to do it. So there's all those kinds of complications involved too. And so we're just like, who do we not like that we want to name as executor? What do we want to punish? So, but seriously, you want to think about who could handle this, like who could handle that kind of pressure of having to handle all those accounts. You don't want to name somebody who's really computer illiterate, because if they have to go out there and handle all these accounts, if they don't know the first thing about computers, they're going to end up having to hire somebody or whatever to help them out. So there's, that consideration. How many different accounts do you have? And like Annette said, if you have a lifetime membership to something where you're not like we have Groove, and so we don't pay anything. So that never needs to be shut down. So you could will that to somebody, give them your login information, and then they could use it if they wanted to use it. But otherwise, all these other accounts, all these, coaches and whatever you might have that you're paying, you want to make sure that they're closing those accounts out so that they don't keep pulling the money out. And it's different from state to state. You need to know what your state requires. The state of Iowa, even though he had a will, he had executors, he had all of that, they still require probate. There's a 4-month probate period where we can't close out the accounts and stuff, like his bank account, in case somebody wants to come and collect. I don't think it was that way in North Dakota, because I don't remember my brothers talking about that. I don't, or my mom and dad were. I could be wrong, it might have been, but it just seemed like they were able to divvy up money to all of us quickly and close everything out. So it's important to know what your state requires. Like, for instance, my husband couldn't be the executor for an out of state because he lived out of state. So as you're choosing somebody to be that, find out what your state requirements are. So these are all super important things that you can actually start doing now. You can start gathering all this information. But then I would suggest meeting with an estate planner or a literary attorney, and then start putting everything into place. So,
Kathy,
yeah.
they also have books that you can get them from Amazon or from the catalogs that come in the mail that says, I'm dead, now what? Where you can list everything so that, it is all in one place.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then they have to know where that book is.
Well, that, and they have to be able to read your writing.
Exactly.
So I think it's better to put it on the computer. Those books are great. I get it. But if I can't read your writing, they're worthless to me,
Yeah.
and that's part of the problem. And a lot of people have terrible handwriting, especially, I know as I get older, my handwriting gets worse. But, and my father-in-law, he had Parkinson's, his handwriting was unlegible, just totally unlegible. So, I think it's better to type it up. Like if you want to have a book like that where you write it out, where you prefer handwriting stuff, use that as your initial template and then transfer it to something that's typed up. So good point. Really good point. Anything else? Yeah, Susan.
About, this is very good points because I didn't think about adding books. But about 4 years ago, I set aside some money and went and saw an attorney that specializes in estate planning.
Yeah.
They were not expensive. They're very good. They do it all the time. And I don't own a lot, but a house and a car, and a few odd things. But they treated me like I was a millionaire.
Mm.
They went through every step, all the way through, no matter what. And basically, I keep a running Excel spreadsheet of all my accounts and passwords and security codes because I can't remember them all.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't, but it's password protected.
Mhm.
So it's not easy to get into necessarily.
Yeah.
But I do have it. And in my lockbox, my daughter that's close by, she knows exactly where that is. And the daughter that's going to be the executor in Texas, she knows where it is too. When they open it up, it says how to open my phone, how to open my computer. Do this first, this second, third, fourth. Here's the book should be with it with all my trust information. And the attorney was so sweet. She said, next time your daughter from Texas comes in town, have her come see me. We'll make time for her and I'll walk her through everything that you have. And because she was a little nervous about being the one responsible, but it was no brainer to me because the oldest daughter is my medical POA person because she's 2 miles from me and she has the heart of gold. She also cannot keep a penny in her pocket though. The other one makes pennies cry. So she's the one that's handling that. She's the executor and will manage everything that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they both know that. They both understand why. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
And they were told up front. And when Yvonne came in town, she says, well, what do I do? I said, let's call him. Tell him you're in town. So she went and talked to him and she came after that meet. They spent over an hour with her, no charge.
Wow.
And said, she came back and she goes, I'm okay. I can do it. I said, I know you can. That's why you're the one that's doing it. She's also married to a bank VP. So I know he can help walk her through a piece or two that she may not realize.
Sure.
But so the one that handles money well, and boy, she does, trust me. She's the executor, but the other one is the one that handles the medical and knows where all that is. She knows exactly where my insurance policy for long-term care is. Etc. But literally they open it up. How to open my phone, how to open the computer, how to get to this password checklist. And it has everything in there because I change passwords all the time.
Yeah.
I have to keep a list.
Yeah.
So you go straight to that and it'll have the latest and greatest of everything.
That's awesome.
But I'd never thought about a book. Of course, I don't have it yet, but I will.
You will.
So I hadn't thought about it. I'll have to add that asset because that has value. It's an asset.
As well as the accounts that you will have relating to that.
Well, that's on my master already. If I have an account, it's on that list. So
you'll have another one now when you publish.
Yeah, there will be. So it'll have to be tell these people. And I may not be quote unquote employed by a permanent employer, but I'm church treasurer. I'm head of a nonprofit, and there's a whole list of things that needs to be done. And so I have thought ahead. I do know where it all is. My kids know where it all is.
You are super organized. That's awesome.
Yes, I know, to a fault.
Oh, but you're going to make their life a whole lot easier.
My mother and mother-in-law lived with me for 14 years each in my home. And I saw what happened with a lot of their stuff. And I saw to it that things were done before they left. We all prepaid for our funeral services
Mhm.
because it's cheap to do it ahead of time, people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get it done. They don't have to worry about it.
Yep. I agree.
Even my former husband was happy that all that was done when his mother passed because he hadn't thought about doing it. And so when she passed, he just had to go to the home and it was all taken care of.
Yeah.
So those things, doing it ahead of time takes a lot of stress and pressure off your family.
Yep.
I don't want to leave them a legacy of headaches. I want to leave them a legacy of don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay.
That's good. Yeah. And,
So,
you know, like my parents, you know, they did that too. I mean, you know, well, my dad is a veteran, so they're in the veteran cemetery, but they, you know, they had the whole funeral plan too, the songs they wanted, the readings they wanted, everything. And it just made it so much easier for us. I mean, you're mourning, you know, and to have to make those kinds of decisions is so difficult. So to have all of that already planned and in place so that your loved one doesn't have to even think about that, so helpful. But I
right.
also want to raise a point. Your spreadsheet, you know, yeah, it's password protected and everything. Make sure anything that you do on the computer, you have backed up somewhere else. Put it on a zip drive or something and put that in a safe deposit box or, you know, a little safe at home so that you have, in case your computer crashes, then you still have a backup.
Look what came in 2 days ago. It's my portable hard drive.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know I need to do that. This computer is 5 years old. And I thought, what happens if the whole thing crashes?
Mhm.
So I did that. Now I've got to do this step, but I just did that.
Yeah,
because
now
I
that
was
you said
thinking,
that out loud, you need to do that today.
well, thank you. This week,
Today.
Today.
Today, I hear you,
I
Sam.
got 2 more Zoom calls, Sam.
I know.
So it won't be done right away.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's good. Yeah, having all your stuff backed up if it's on the computer. I mean, that's the nice thing about writing it in a book, but the book can get lost in the book if they can't read your writing. So I mean, it's not bad to have it in both places if you want to have it in a book, if you like to have it written. Just have that book in a safe place because, you know, if somebody breaks in your house and takes your book, now they have access to everything. But yeah, I mean, social security number, they need to know your information. They need to know all of that. So, you know, a lot of the things that you would do normally for a will applies here. It's just that, you know, there's just some different things to consider as an author when it comes to your book and the accounts associated with your book and your wishes. Because it comes down to your wishes because even if you say here's my account, here's my Amazon login, here's the security information, you know, blah blah blah. If you don't tell them that you want your book to stay published and who gets those funds, they might just shut it down. They might unpublish your book and close the account. Is it the end of the world? No. But if that's not your wishes,
I have
know.
a question that's not on topic, but I
Yeah.
just, when you were talking about KDP,
Yeah.
made me think of it. So I'm working on updating. I have, I think you got this copy,
Yeah.
Kathy, it's a hardback, but I've changed it and I'm making updates and I have it all ready,
Mhm.
but because it's a hardback, it's 8 1/4 by 11 instead of 8 1/2 by 11.
Okay.
And so I've gone in on Word and, I've changed the setting to 8 1/4 by 11,
Mhm.
and that's what it's, and I save it and it's set as that. But then randomly, some pages throughout are 8 1/2 by 11 instead of 8 1/4, and it's not like I have it done, but it's not the right size, and it won't let me update it
Mm.
in KDP, and
Yeah.
I need it done by Thursday.
Ew.
And I've been working like since I got back, I've been working on like 3 days trying to get this done. And I
Yeah.
don't know why. Maybe Annette has an answer. She raised her hand.
No, I don't have an answer. I just
Oh,
had,
okay.
you made me think of a
Oh,
question.
okay. And so I'm trying to figure this out. I went to Google Docs thinking maybe I could put it in a Google Doc, but it won't let it, those are only standard sizes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
8 1/4 is not one of them. So if anybody has an idea or if you've run into this, I would love it because I've got to get this done. Because I have people I got to send this new. I can do the paperback one, but
Mhm.
because it's supposed to last for it's a year's worth of stuff. I'm afraid that if they're actually doing it, that the spine will not hold and the hardback would be better. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't do formatting just for that reason because it's complicated, but yeah, I don't know. It's in Word right now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That you have it set for the whole document and not like the
I
page.
have it set for the whole document, and then randomly, like the first 41 pages were fine, and then from 42, a section was 8 1/2, and then it went back down. And so when I go in and try and redo it, it says that the margins aren't right and won't let it happen. And so I've tried doing it in sections. The first 41 pages are good to do that, and I've tried chunking it, and it's just not cooperating. So
Good
Right.
Rod.
It's an enemy.
I know.
That's
I am
an
right with
enemy.
you, Diane. I know. So,
Okay,
Susan, what
so-
did you say?
Kathy,
was
would
about to
Rod
say-
know how to do it?
Rod wouldn't know.
No.
His formatter that he uses,
Yeah. So I have a girl that used to work for me on my admin team that was my book person
Okay.
of laying out and stuff. And so I think I'm going to message her and say, hey, I know you don't work for me, but I still love you. You still love me. Can I pay you to do this?
Yeah.
Because it's really being a pain in my booty right now.
Yeah.
And
I
see if
would
she
do
has
that.
time.
Your time is more valuable doing other stuff. Just let her do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, Word can be tricky, and that's why I don't mess with trying to do formatting. It's just
All right.
just
Thank
funny
you.
things sometimes.
All right.
Annette.
Thank you for your help.
Annette.
I did have to write my question down. Oh, I am trying to upload my manuscript into KDP,
Mhm.
and it's not accepting it as in the PDF form. I
For
say,
the print book.
yes, and I did. I mean, I finally went through my audio audit and got it edit revision. And so I'm ready to put it back up, and it's not doing it.
What kind of PDF? There's different types of PDFs. Are you doing it for print? It should have like the /A, I think, or something like that behind it. Just a regular PDF might not work. Make sure it's a PDF for print.
Okay, so when I put hold on, I'm trying to get that to that particular file to see what you're talking about here. So the question I'm going to ask you is, how do I, when I change it into a PDF, let me go to the words. When I change it to a PDF, then I do that by saving it as a PDF. Is that right?
Yeah, you can do, save as, and then you can click PDF to just save it as a PDF. However, I think what you need to do is then, I'm not sure if you need to save it as a PDF first or if you can just export it.
Okay, I'm going to try something else because when I went to Word, I saw something I didn't see before. It still I saved it as a PDF and it has the PDF on it. That one is not going up. but I just saw a word that says, it's still in the Word format, but has PDF on it.
When you try exporting it, instead of saving it as a PDF, if you go to, and you say export, and save as a PDF, then there's an option that you can click, and it just, I think, is the default. It says standard, and then in parentheses, publishing online and printing. So maybe try that.
Okay, where do you see the
Oh,
exporting?
okay, here,
Okay.
let me share my screen because I just found something else. So I'm gonna pull this over here. Okay, so here's my Word document. All right. And you go file, export,
Okay.
create PDF, XPS. And then you get this and see how it defaulted to standard here. If you click on options, there's also this says PDF/A compliant. I would click on that because the /A is usually for printing.
So it's PDF in the options.
Yeah.
Okay, can
Under
you back up one more time?
Yeah,
Because-
okay. So you export it
Export.
as a PDF. Okay, let me do this. So scroll down here to export, create PDF/XPS. And then you gotta click this button again. And then on this dialog box, click option, make sure standard is checked. And then options. And then click PDF/A compliant.
PDF/A compliant.
Give that one a try. That might be what's wrong, is it's just not reading it because of the type of PDF that it is.
Okay,
So
thank you.
yeah,
Try.
worth a try, right? All right, any other questions? Comments?
I just messaged Donna and she said, sure, email it to her.
Yay! Good. Yeah, that'll be one thing off your shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah.
There'll be like one little thing I didn't click the box and she'll be able to figure it
Yeah.
out.
Well, that's like when I did my mind mapping templates. That one I formatted myself because everything's just the same, right? But then I wanted page numbers on there. And I could not get the page numbers to work the way I wanted to because on the blank page I didn't want there to be a page number. And I could not get it to work. So I contacted my formatter and she did it for like $25 and had it the same day, I think, because it was something easy for her. I just didn't understand it. So yeah, when it's taking up all that time, brain time, physical time, at some
I'm a
point,
big fan. I'm a big fan of who, not how. And I just kept thinking, it can't be that hard, right? This is what I do.
yeah, right.
I've done like 55 of them. I can do this. It's not that hard, but the 8.5,
Yeah, the
the
different.
8 1/4 is just weird. So
Yeah, yeah. So
all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great day.
yeah, you too. Oh, just hold on, just a second, you guys.